Hi, this is a tutorial on how to fix a broken Korg nanoKontrol. This is this little interface right here. And if I had to take a guess on why you're watching this, it would be because you've broken or snapped off this little USB port here. And this happened to me twice actually. I had to do it to another one that I owned. I had one and then I went ahead and I bought another one and they both snapped off. So I figured out a way to fix this, and so I'm going to share that with you today. So before I get into the steps, I'm going to explain what we're doing. Essentially, what we're about to do is take this wire right here and just hook it straight into the circuit board of the Korg Nano. So if you're worried about losing this, or you need it for something else, this probably wouldn't be a good idea for you to do it. But if you're not worried about this, or you're desperate and you really need this to be fixed, let's go ahead and do what we need to do. Okay, so there are a few things that we're going to need for this repair. All of this is very cheap, easy to find. You could go to Ace Hardware, you could go to Walmart even, and find these things if you don't already have them at home. The first thing that I'm going to show up is a Rosin core solder. You're going to need this for making those connections between your wire and the actual circuit board itself. You're going to need a soldering iron. All I have is a 25 watt. Really, that's all you need. You don't need anything more powerful than that. Just a simple 25 watt soldering iron. I got mine at Ace for about $16. Real cheap, real easy to find. You're also going to need some steel wool. This you can look up tutorials on YouTube on how to solder, and most of them will suggest a steel wool to help clean off any excess rosin core solder that you have on your iron, or anything like that. That's the way that I learned how to solder, was looking at YouTube videos. So those are real helpful. You're also going to need some wire cutters. We're going to need some scissors. This is what I use to strip the wire, but you can also use the wire cutters to strip them. You're going to need some electrical tape, and you're also going to need, of course, your USB cable and your Korg nanoKontrol. Also, an optional thing that you can have is a magnet. This is just for screw control. You can take the screws right out of the Korg and stick them right on the magnet, and you don't have to worry about them falling on the floor or getting away or losing any of them. It's a real handy tip that I usually use. And also, you might need a container to hold all of the knobs and the buttons and all this good stuff. Alright, so let's get into how we're going to do this. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is basically the computer part of your Korg nanoKontrol. We're going to be only worrying about 4 things on this little layout here, so don't get too intimidated. The first part we'll be looking at will be the inducer, and this is the part that will be taking in all of the voltage, all of the energy from the computer through the wire into your Korg nanoKontrol. This will be all the way in the top left. You'll see an L1 right next to a C6 and a C5 and all that good stuff. It's the very top left, and I'll be showing you what to do with all of that in the next part. The next thing that we'll be working with are these two little things that look exactly like the L1, except they're labeled R2 and R3. It's a little farther down towards the middle of this little layout here. And these two are the little components that are sending data to and from your Korg nanoKontrol. So there will be 2 wires going in these 2 things, a data minus and a data plus, or data negative and positive. The next thing and the last thing that we'll be working with is this component group over here. It's these little 6 holes on the left, and this was probably put in for like a developer modification, like diagnostic test or something like that. I'm not really sure, but what we'll be using this for a ground cable connection, and so that's pretty much all we're going to be working with for right now. And so let's go ahead and get started. So now that I've explained to you what these little components on the board mean, I'm going to show you how we're going to actually hook up your wire into the Korg nanoKontrol. You can see on the L1 we are going to put in a red wire. We're going to solder this right down. We're going to do this for each of them. We're going to solder the contents of the red wire onto the L1. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put a white wire on the R2. This white wire is the one that will transmit, or it's actually going to be receiving the data from the Korg nanoKontrol. So this is going to be your data negative. Then next we're going to put a green wire. Sorry about the lettering there. You can hardly see it, green on green. But you're going to be able to put the green wire on this R3. This will be sending out data from the computer to the Korg nanoKontrol. And the last one will be our ground cable, and this is going to be the black wire. And you're going to hook this one on to the top left component circle, and this will complete all of the work that you have to do for this repair. Okay, so for the sake of time, I've already taken out the majority of the little knobs and sliders here. I'm going to show you how to take them out just in case you're worried that you're going to break it. These things are just simple push-on little things. All you have to do is pull and take them off. It's that simple. There's no glue or screws or anything that you have to get around. Same thing with the sliders. Just stick your fingernail or maybe a flathead screwdriver under there and just take it right off. It's very, very simple. I've also already undone the screws on the back of them. There's 6 of them on the back of the Korg Nano. So all you have to do is unscrew those and take the back part off. So go ahead and pause the video or something and just undo that. And then you'll be left with these 2 pieces. You're going to do the same thing with this. There are little screws located on the outside edge of the circuit board. So go ahead and undo those, and then you'll be able to take the face off of it. And you can put these 2 plastic pieces off to the side. You don't have to worry about those anymore, because all we're going to be worrying about is this circuit board here. So the first step that we're going to have to do is we're going to take off this little USB connector part. This is the smaller part that normally connects into the actual nanoKontrol. Don't cut off the part that goes into your computer. You want to keep that intact. You just want to cut this off, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Take your wire cutters and just snap it right off. Here you go. Okay. And you can put that off to the side. You're not going to need it anymore. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to strip off this black outside wire part of it. So go ahead and strip that off. It might take a little bit of work. I'm not really that great at it, so bear with me. You want to be careful not to cut or hurt any of the wires that are inside of this rubber part here. Okay, so now you've got this little part. You're going to see these little metal bristles out here along with what looks like aluminum foil. You're going to want to just peel these back. You can even cut them off. And you also want to strip this little part, the aluminum, not the wires inside, just the aluminum foil. You just want to take that off. So now that we've stripped all of the metal part of it, all of the little bristles, you'll see that we have four different colored wires here. You have a black, a green, a red, and a white. we're going to be using all of these, so you want to go ahead and strip those as well. There'll be little tiny little wires inside of it, so you want to get down to that part right there. Again, be careful not to cut the wire. Make sure not to get the wires confused as well. You want to make sure that you keep the black wires separate from the red and the green and the white, as well as with all the other ones. And if you mess up and you accidentally cut off some length of the wire, just strip some more of the outer black rubber. Just strip some more of that, and you can get yourself more of that color that you need. Now I've got it all stripped down, and you can see they're all separate from each other, and they're all ready to be soldered. So what you're going to want to do is, how you can see how all of these are kind of curled the way that they are. Just go ahead and twist all of the bristles together for each individual wire, not all of them together. Just twist the white ones together, then twist the red ones together, and the green ones, and so on. Alright, now that you've got that all done, that's pretty much step one down. Now it's time to heat up your soldering iron, so go ahead and plug that in if you haven't already. Plug that in, and we'll get into how we're going to actually attach these to the board. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm hooking the white wire up into the R2 component. I sped this up because I didn't want to waste too much of your time. I left some links to how to solder videos that I found on YouTube that helped me out a whole bunch. This will teach you how to solder and how to do things like that. I didn't want to do it because you can't really see what I'm doing that well with my webcam that I have. So all I'm doing is putting the white wire onto the R2 component with soldering, and I did this for each of the components that I have, including the red one and the green one. I'm going to put up a picture of how we're going to connect this last ground cable. What we're pretty much going to do is we're going to take this cable and we're going to put it through that last circle. So let's say this is the hole that we have. We're going to take the wires and we're going to stick it through, and then we're going to turn the circuit board over. We're going to stick solder in that hole like that. So let's get to it. And now we're going to tin the tip of the black wire. This is a really good idea to do this, especially for this one, because we're going to be sticking it through such a tiny hole. Set that aside, and we're going to thread the needle here. This takes a little bit of time, so don't worry about rushing through this part. It'll take a little while. Okay, so now that we've got that, we can turn this over, and you can see on yours, at least you should, and actually on mine, you can see how the wire is poking through. So all we're going to do is we're just gonna solder that little wire down in there, and then we'll be done, and I can show you the final results. Okay, here we go. What you want to do is you want to stick the soldering, or just solder, on one side, and stick the soldering iron on the other, and you don't want too much on this. You just want a little, just enough to fill in that hole there. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Perfect. Now we're going to take your electrical tape, and we're just going to separate these wires because we don't really want them crossing. Kind of like Ghostbusters, we don't want to cross the streams. This works for electronics as well. So just cut off a little piece. So we'll make it a smaller piece. Alright, now that I've got them all taped up individually, we're going to tape these up all together. Okay, so now that we've got it all plugged in, let's give it a shot. We'll take the USB part right here, and we'll just plug it right in, see what happens. As you can see right here, we have the LED light right here. Oh, hold on, let me move it into the camera. We have it lit up, and I'm going to show you that it does actually work, transmitting data, moving these little parts back and forth, and I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so now we are going to open up FL. Hold on, let me find it here. Image, oh, that's image line. And open up FL, and I will show you just how this thing will work. It'll work just like any other MIDI device that you have. You can see it's picking up on the nanoKontrol, so I'm going to go ahead and enable it. It's synced to it, and you watch around this area right here. It's the MIDI input activity, and so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to push forward on the slider. That works just fine. Push up another one, that's working too. And it's same for all of them, even the little knobs here, they're working as well. Here, I'll show you. I'll just set this to link right here. I'm going to turn this knob right here, and you can see that it is also turning with everything else. I mean, just like normal. So that's just how it works. And it works just like anything. All you got to do is put all the buttons back on, put on the casing, and it is working just like new. So the last thing I want to share with you that has actually happened to me both times that I've done this, this little hole is now too small, or I can't put the wiring back through this hole. So the thing that I've done both times is just to cut off this top part right here with my wire cutters. So I'm just going to snap that part right off, and it should fit just fine. And you also probably want to cut a little bit more out of it, depending on how good your electrical taping skills are. Mine aren't that great, so I'm going to have to cut out quite a bit more, actually. But just do it as necessary, and that's pretty much it. So now you have a working Korg nanoKontrol. I hope this has worked out for you. It has for me twice, but just in case it hasn't worked out for you, like something isn't going right, the LED isn't lighting up, or it isn't working on your computer, go ahead and leave me a question in the comments section. I know there aren't very many people who have posted a fix to this in any forum or even videos on YouTube. I know there aren't that many people. It took me a while to do this, so I want to help you out as much as I can. So just leave me a question. I'm going to give you a couple of links on how to contact me. I'll leave my email and my Facebook page. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can on the answer of what I think your problem would be and the solution and all of that good stuff. So thank you for watching, and I hope that this has worked out for the best.